back to the update on the HYFN TV network. Now, we've been talking quite a bit about the United Nations in connection with the Russia-Ukraine war, and you may have heard the organization in the past. But do you know the details? Like what is the United Nations, what does it do, and why exactly is it needed? Well, you'll find out today. Jai has your report.
Thank you, Tiff. Okay, guys, so what is the United Nations? The United Nations was created at the end of World War II, founded on October 24, 1945. The United Nations is an international organization that represents member states from all corners of the world. There are 195 nations in the United Nations legally, and they are recognized as one of those. 193 are members of the United Nations. The two that are not members are Vatican City, which chooses to not be a member, and Palestine, which has not been admitted for membership. The United Nations is headquartered in a patch of international territory located in the Manhattan borough of New York City. It also operates major offices in Nairobi, Vienna, Geneva, and The Hague. The goals of the United Nations include promoting peace, excellent, international cooperation, and human rights throughout the world. So, what do they do? According to the masterclass.com, here's a breakdown. The founding charter of the United Nations establishes core values and objectives for the organization. Now, according to the UN Charter, the body divides its work into 5 core objectives. Maintaining international peace and security. This involves conflict preservative diplomacy, mediation, peacekeeping operations, assistance for countries emerging from conflicts, counter-terrorism campaigns, and disarmament efforts. Now, the UN and Security Council and General Assembly lead these efforts. Protecting human rights. The UN's Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights leads peacekeeping missions, reports on active human rights issues, and investigates situations affecting human rights around the globe. Other committees within the branch monitor the implementation of treaties related to human rights. Now, delivering humanitarian aid. The UN first developed humanitarian aid to Europe in the aftermath of World War II. Several agencies, including the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, the World Food Program, WFP, and the World Health Organization, WHO, coordinate to respond and provide relief when there are humanitarian health emergencies. Now, establishing sustainable development goals and a climate action policy is of huge importance too. Thankfully, the UN launched a Sustainable Development Agenda in 2015 that outlines 17 goals for a sustainable global economy. Among these goals were improving access to clean water, reducing poverty and inequality, and advancing clean energy solutions. The UN has encouraged member states to meet these goals via agreements, such as the Paris Climate Agreement of 2015. Now, enforcing the law, the UN's International Court of Justice settles disputes between member states. Meanwhile, international courts and tribunals work to address war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. Now, guess what? There are also organs of the UN. This means different groups that make up part of the UN, including the UN General Assembly, the UN Security Council, and more. Now, join us next week as we discuss the second part of that. There's a lot of work that goes on, and so they need a ton of different departments. So, what do we really need the UN for? Well, in short, the answer is we absolutely need them because, first off, it's a global forum of nations, meaning it's a place where states can resolve their issues through dialogue without reporting or resorting to conflict. The UN plays a key role in bringing nations together to work through their differences. Second, their human rights work is extensive and is vital in having human rights enshrined in international law. Third, their peacekeeping is vital. The UN deploys peacekeepers to conflict and post-conflict zones to monitor peace agreements, protest civilians, assist with disarmament, and create the conditions for lasting peace. There are many other reasons, which, we will also discuss next week, so come on back. But here's another fun fact. Did you know the United Nations won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1988 for its peacekeeping work? Needless to say, the UN isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Back to you, Tiff.
Thank you, Jai, and that's going to wrap up our Around the World. Make sure you stay tuned. Up next, we are bringing it back home to the great state of Arizona.